It was a difficult difficult challenge, but thankfully, very, very supportive family, and have really embraced this opportunity and this experience. Completely different to living in the UK, but in again, a really positive way. It was just a football challenge for me, and one that was a really exciting one. But of course, it's not just about the football. You've got a family and a life to consider as well, and I guess that was the biggest thing. But thankfully, it's gone quite well, and we're just really, really grateful for this experience and for living in this fantastic part of the world.
What attracted you to the job from the very beginning?
Well, I think it was the vision of the chairman, I guess, first off, and also the opportunity to make a difference. I just felt there was a real opportunity at the club. There were some really good people here, but for one reason or the other, it just hadn't really taken off. There was a lot of talk about what it wanted to do, and just never quite materialised. And the club got relegated to Division 2, which was obviously a massive blow. And it was just it seemed a good time to come and to create a bit of an identity. That was the thing that I really got interested in. We weren't just trying to win matches and go up the leagues, which was obviously an aim. It was always the aim to get into elite Swedish football, but it was doing it in a certain way and having an identity and something for people to follow from a football perspective. So I've been in football a long time to know that those sort of opportunities don't come up very often. I think you can get bogged down with the levels and where it's at, but actually if you just stripped it down, it was a great football opportunity for me.
When you speak about the vision and the identity and the values sort of being the core of the football club, could you specify that? What is the identity and what is the vision of Östersunds FK?
Well, we wanted to develop a brand of football which was sort of possession based, that was that allowed players to or help players to become a bit flexible tactically, to be able to play in lots of different ways, but essentially to stick to those beliefs about playing a possession based football, which we thought was a long-term way of developing players, and like I say, having that focus from a recruitment perspective to work to allow you to sort of attract players that maybe other markets and other clubs didn't really appreciate. Maybe they were a little bit too small, or etc., etc., but technically good. And it was really about creating an environment where players enjoyed the football, not to really confuse things too much, to allow them the freedom to make those choices out on the pitch, because essentially that's what it is as a footballer. It doesn't matter what I say, what any coach says. Ultimately, you're out there as a player, and you have to make the decisions. And when things go well, it's a fantastic feeling. So just to encourage that. So I'd say, to sum it up, possession-based football, tactically flexible, freedom to make your decisions, and a real positivity when those decisions don't go right, to react in a really good way. And I think those are probably the cornerstones of how we work.
It's not the traditional way of trying to work yourself up the lowest Swedish divisions to sort of go from a possession-based football. What's it been like? What's the journey been like? Because you've obviously had the results to go along with the philosophy, but has it been a smooth journey or has it been a bumpy one?
I think it's just been a journey, and I think you have to accept that sometimes on any journey it's going to go a little bit that way and it's going to go up and down. I think, fundamentally it's about the players, it's about understanding what the players need and what's required. When I arrived first off, it wasn't a time to start talking about real in-depth tactical sort of decisions, and it was about getting a group of players who had just been relegated, who had been used to, for the last sort of 5 to 10 years, struggling at the bottom of the league and just about surviving, to turning that into we want to enjoy our football, we want to be positive, and we want to try and win matches. So that was just about human beings, really, in that first year, and it was about safe and understanding how we worked. And then as things move forward and the challenge becomes more and more, then you can start to introduce more concepts, but I think it's important when you go in as a coach that you can't. It's about understanding what the players need first, and then adapting yourself to that. But you're right. I guess it's not that traditional. But I think I've been lucky in that I stopped playing sort of 8 years ago and had time to develop a method of work in an environment where you're not quite under the gun in terms of results. So that gives you a chance to develop a method, and it's like any profession really. If you're just going to go in from relatively nothing and then straight into the results business or the results end with no training, you know, you can come a bit unstuck, and I guess maybe that's why you stick to tradition a little bit, because it's safer and you know it.
But you're talking about changing the mentality of a football club. You're talking about turning fighters into winners. How do you achieve that?
I think, like I say, I think first of all they have to enjoy the football, and they have to buy into what you're saying, and you know, in the first year we had some really good people like Martin and older players that experienced the club, that knew the club, that knew the town, that knew where it was at, and it was about just helping those guys improve the football and explaining the rationale and how we wanted to work, and getting that buy-in from the players. And I think as soon as you have that, you know, lots can be achieved really. And then it's just a big selling process. And obviously results help. They build trust and they build belief, and then from that trust and belief you can start to add, and generally, you know, people go with you, and that's what's happened. It's been a great. I've been lucky that I've worked with a really great group of players throughout my time. You know, players have moved on, of course, and that's part of the process, but they've all been fantastic, great to work with, and that's helped me a lot.
Östersund and northern Sweden in general, it isn't a traditional footballing hotbed. Is the challenge of managing a team different here than it is to other places in the world, you reckon?
Well, I think there is the location issue, certainly in the first couple of years, to try and attract. Well, I don't know whether it's the location, but I think to a certain extent the football club had been. Excuse me. The football club had. You know, got itself into a bit of a bad position, so it wasn't like if you're a player moving from Gothenburg or Stockholm, it's not an ideal one to come and move up here to play. But this, as things have gone on, I think players have bought into our and players have seen that that we play a certain way, that we allow our players to develop, that I think we make improvements to players. Obviously, the sale of David Akam to Helsingborg really, from a player's perspective, made us a bit more attractive, because you know, to sell that type of player halfway through a season when more or less everybody was saying you can't do it because you lose your chance of getting up, and to still do it, it's a real positive statement from a player recruitment perspective, and also just any player, young players coming through the system locally. It just says, well, if there's an opportunity for me as an individual to move on and to outgrow the club, then we have the courage to allow that to happen, and that's quite a powerful thing. That's more powerful than location, I would say.
When you talk about player recruitment, I think it's fair to say that Östersund has done it differently when it comes to player recruitment, as well as the club has done other things differently. When you look at the team today, you see players from all over the world. Can you talk us through the process of player recruitment?
Yeah, I think if I can take the example from when we got promotion from Division 2 to Division 1, the first bit we did was sign Petter Augustsson from Umedalen, Jonas Desai from Boden, and I think we got Jonty Lundbäck back from Sundsvall. So our immediate focus is always on the surrounding area and locally, and then of course when there's not the players that fit our model, we have to look outside. When we're in Division 2 and Division 1, it was nigh on impossible to get players from the south of Sweden up to us. So then it was about, well, and if we did, it would cost us a hell of a lot of money. So then our approach was players who had the attitude and character to play and be proud to represent Östersund, and obviously fit our long-term sort of way of playing. So then the likes of Sam Mensah, David Akam, Isaac Shaze, Sean Min-moon, Jamie Hubcutt, those type of players came in, young players, never been professional footballers, never played any first-team football anywhere. They came in as an opportunity, but as individuals, very, very proud to be here and really wanted to move the club forwards and obviously have that opportunity to move their own career forwards. So, whilst I think in an ideal world you'd have 20 players from the town representing your football club, absolutely, because that's the obviously the main aim. And we hope that one day we can get to that. But I think it's about understanding where you're at as a club, and hopefully in years to come that will happen. But as we've gone through the journey, there's obviously a need to look elsewhere, and then it's about value, and it's about character, and it's about pride to represent the town.
Where do you see the football club in maybe 5 or even 10 years' time? Do you think the stage where you're at now is as good as it's going to get, or do you think there's even bigger potential in the club and in the community for further growth?
No, absolutely. I think there is potential here still, absolutely. I mean, I think the last home game was 6,000 people at singing the Jamtland, anthem. It was just a real special day. I think we're the 3rd highest supported team in Superettan. There's a real interest. It's a really football proud town, and I think you can go on, absolutely. That said, it's a big challenge. We probably have to understand that we've gone very quickly to where we are now. And that's where we've probably been this spring in terms of learning and adapting to this level. But there's certainly a desire and a vision and a belief that you can improve and you can move forward.
If we look at this season specifically, you're pretty much at the halfway point now. Are you happy with how it's turned out so far?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, obviously not. I think we have to probably, rather than being happy or sad or disappointed, it's about understanding where we're at, and that's our job. That's my job, to understand where we've come from, where we're at, and what needs to happen to improve. I think if we look at the season, we've had a good start. We lost our centre forward after the transfer window closed, which is for a team coming up how we have to lose a key player like that was a sort of a big blow for us. But we adapted well and got off to a good start. And then we had a bit of a sticky patch where we've probably lost a couple more sort of key players, and one got really destabilised, I would say. But throughout that, we didn't really get beat heavily, or more importantly, we didn't go away from our football principles and those beliefs that we have. And I think that's the biggest strength of a club, because you can have beliefs and these ways of playing when things are going well, but when they don't go so well, it's important that you can maintain those. And we did, and we came through. And in the last 3 games of the spring season, we took 7 points. So I would say it was just a bit of a journey, but one that fills me with a lot of optimism and pride, actually, to go forward in the autumn. It's going to be an exciting period.
You're talking about how it's your job to know what has to happen for you to improve. What has to happen for you to improve?
Well, I think if you look back at our games, we've been there's been clear football principles in the performances. We've probably just lacked a little bit in whether it sounds a bit cliche, but probably in both boxes we haven't had quite that competition that we needed. That little bit of sort of luck sometimes that's required. So we've took a couple of decisions to sort of strengthen in those areas and add that competition. But I think we have to appreciate that sometimes the defeats that you have are really, really important for us. at this level. I said that when we were going through a bit of a sticky patch. I just thought it was a great opportunity for us to have a difficult time at a level that we'd never been at before, and then to come through it and grow. So I think we have to understand that, and keep being focused on our job and our football principles, because they're what's got us here. We've got a great team spirit at the club, a great group mentality, and like I say, just really looking forward to the autumn season.
You're playing Falkenberg tomorrow, a team which beat you 2-0 last weekend. Why is it going to be different this time around?
Well, it's a different game, as you know, Eric. It's every game's different in football, and it provides another opportunity for us. I thought in the game you could see why Falkenberg were a top side. At the same time, I thought we competed really, really well with them in lots of areas. Having a men sent off after 65 didn't help us overall. But at home, with the things that we've learned, another week of training with sort of newer players, a way to implement our ideas a little bit more. Obviously you can never sort of control the results in football, but I think we'll see a positive performance, and certainly judging by the players this week, they're looking forward to getting out and playing again and getting that home feeling that we had against Hammarby.
Even though the game against Falkenberg is the obvious centerpiece of this weekend, there are a few other things going on over here as well this weekend. And I know you got friends coming over from England.
My friends, I would say,
visit.
it's a great time to be here. It's a great festival. I've always really looked forward to this time of the year. Slightly concerned that the players aren't a little bit distracted from all that's going on, but I just think when the weather's like this, and you look around and you see people and you see activity, and everything's buzzing, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So I'm just looking forward to my friends coming over and sort of being proud to show them where I live, and this is the decision I made to sort of come out here, and you can see why, type thing.
It'll be an easy sell this weekend, perhaps.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, well, it certainly will after 3 points tomorrow, that's for sure.
So, any chance for yourself to take in a few bands?
I'm hoping to Saturday. I don't tend to. I try not to do anything the night before a game. So I'm hoping that 3 points on Saturday, and then I can go and watch some music.
Yeah, let your hair down. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but at least it's like anything. When you've won, it's you can do anything, and it feels great. When results haven't gone so well, it's not so easy to enjoy yourself then.
So if I return here the same time next year, will you still be here?
Well, I absolutely hope so. I think when you make these moves, you make them for the long term. Absolutely. So I'd look forward to maybe doing this again this time next year. And
what will have happened with the football club in a year's time? What's going to have changed?
Well, I think we'd have learned. We have a sort of our philosophy at the club is that every day we try to learn, we try to improve. So what I would hope is that we've improved as a club. That's our number one aim. Of course, then you have to understand that other people are competing in the same league. You can't control what they do, but from our perspective, we hope that there's as a staff and players that we've become better footballers, more educated. More able to take on the decisions and take on the challenges that whatever competition we're in throws up at us. I've been in football too long to predict where things go in tables or leagues. I think you just got to focus on the next day, the next training session, the next match, and just do your very best to improve, and that's all you can do.
Okay, I'd like to thank you very much indeed for taking the time out, and I'll release you for preparations for tomorrow's game. But again, thanks for taking the time, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you very much.
And I don't know if there are any questions. I'm sure that Graham will be happy to answer one or two. If not, we'll just let him go for the preparations. Yeah, I think we'll call it a day.